Guys, and welcome to American Culture. I want to have this quick discussion with you because God's put something on my mind. Now, first and foremost, when I tell you that God is speaking to me, it's not necessarily that I hear a voice. Like I said, sometimes it comes in like a ringing in the ear, and then I get these downloads, and He'll tell me to go look for something or look up, and it's like, whoa, I know what you're talking about. But other times, we have to remember that God is within us, Jesus is within us. And so we do have a source of infinite knowledge within ourselves. And if we actually sit there and focus on the Lord and really present all of our problems and issues, He will start to uncover what's going on. And so when I say God has told me, I'm getting a revelation of sorts. And He's been revealing a lot of things recently to me about forgiveness and the reason why we need to forgive, and it's because of resentment. Now, I told you guys briefly, I ended up resenting myself, basically acting like I was bitter with myself, disappointed in myself, the whole 9 yards, and I was living that out in different scenarios. And even though I had forgiven other people for the things that caused resentment, I hadn't done it in me. And so that was me kind of releasing myself from the bondage, of being tied to those different things. But I didn't get relief until I understood what was creating so many burdens. What was the root of the resentment? And it's that you're constantly being scapegoated. And what that means is that somebody is having a really hard time accepting responsibility and accountability for any of the chaos or things that are going on in their life. So they look at another person and say, you're the fault. It's your issue. You did this. And a lot of times we don't want to be a bother. We don't want to be a problem. So we do things to kind of remedy that for people at our own detriment. Well, me saying I'm not going to do that anymore, like I said, provided me with a lot of relief. Now, you guys, when I give you the scenarios that are going on in my life, it's just that. These are the on-hand scenarios that I have to make what I'm thinking and what's being revealed to me make sense. Don't get me wrong. I've done all of these things that I speak of, but I'm kind of on the outside looking in now that I've done so much inner work to not be doing that. I'm going to tell you emphatically, I don't scapegoat people. I'm too clear on all of the things that I do and all the things that you're doing to have to sit here and live in some type of lie. With that being said, I did not recognize until recently just how easy and often we do scapegoat one another. It's basically anytime that you become uncomfortable, you become upset, you look at somebody else and say, well, you're the blame for this. And the thing, what happens is, and of course, if you've been following this along, I have a dysfunctional family. I'm really the black sheep. I've left that all behind, and I'm kind of the black sheep over here. What happens is they have to start to make you the source of the problem. So they will begin to place negative characteristics and attributes on you that aren't there. And if you don't, I would recommend that if it's in a friendship type of setting or a family type of setting, the very first moment that you realize that someone's not bringing you joy, not bringing you happiness, not bringing you love, especially if they're used to doing that, you say, hey, what's going on? Have I done something or said something, or is life just causing you to be a little bit imbalanced because I'm not receiving the same type of joy from you that I'm used to? The reason why you need to do that is because people, like I say, will eventually start assigning these negative attributes to you until you look like you're a horrible person, you're of Satan, you're a demon, you're the bad one, you're here to kill, steal, and destroy from me. And that's not true. After a while, you guys, so many of us, we like to follow the things going on social media or whatever. After a while, you can lie so much, you start to believe it. And that's the reason why scapegoating works. A lot of people do it by lying. A lot of people do it by over-exaggerating. And when we do those sorts of things, we honestly feel like the other person believes them. And so after a while, you will start to believe your own lies. And this is where a lot of the dynamics start to break apart and the friendship starts to break apart. You might look at a person who was sent to be your friend and say, I think that they're going to steal from me. And before you know it, oh, they're over here dressing fancy. Oh, they're trying to take my sunshine away. All this other stuff. And before you know it, that person that God sent to be your friend is no longer a friend. They're the enemy because you're believing the lies you tell yourselves. And all of this is because you don't want to have to deal with your own burdens and provide your own self with relief. I kind of realized that a lot of us, we live the lie because we find that to be the only place that we can get relief. So yeah, there is an aspect of having to stand up in the truth and face those odd things. And when things aren't going as loving and they're not going as right, you have to actually put the truth in front of somebody and say, hey, I noticed this. What's going on? And really give somebody the ability to self-evaluate and figure out, am I doing things or thinking things incorrectly? Now, the problem with this, and I'll end this video, is that it goes back to the root of all this. So many of us hate ourselves. We have this great dislike or this great hate. And so we don't want to look at things that we hate, especially who we are. And that leads us to carry around all of this unforgiveness and this resentment, which ends up becoming a burden that we have to place on other people. And so we're constantly scapegoating people around us, turning them into the problems. So again, we never have to see the problem within ourselves. It's much bigger than self-victimization. It is a life cycle that will repeat through DNA and generations if you do not get a hold of it. Self-hate turns into resentment. Resentment turns into a burden. A burden you give to somebody else through scapegoating via probably a lie at some point. That is the only way that you can get a relief, is to make all of these problems somehow somebody else's, and the cycle repeats itself because you never look at you and evaluate, what's my part in this? What am I doing? Because you don't want to look at you because you hate you. So yeah, it's very interesting to really see it all come full circle like that. Like I said, we are our own source of infinite knowledge. If we just sit and meditate on the word of God and God's character, he will allow these different things to come up when you need it. So yeah, I think I'm in I wouldn't say I think, I know that I'm in a good space in my life to move to this next chapter, because your girl's tired of being on the outside looking into this stuff. I've told God before, I need to have people around me that I can actually interact with again. You know, I'm tired of the people who, the second that they become uncomfortable, because I'm a very truthful person, I'm bluntly honest, getting upset and trying to find some type of a problem with me that's not there. So that's my prayer, and I think anybody out there knows that I am just waiting on my soul tribe, as they would call it, or whatever, my God-given people to come, so I can have people to talk to and interact with on this level of purity, on this level of truth, because I have lived the lie. No more, you guys. It didn't work out very well. Don't want it. And I'd like to be able to live in the truth with people who are doing the same. Have a blessed day, you guys.